Good morning, Morgan, and good morning to any of Morgan's friends that are joining us for today's video. This is our first Django video of the Django series, and with that, let's just dive right on in, okay?
Throughout this tutorial, we'll walk you through the creation of a basic poll application. It'll consist of two parts. A public site that lets people view polls and vote in them. An admin site that lets you add, change, and delete polls. We'll assume you have Django installed already. You can tell Django is installed and which version by running the following command in a shell prompt, indicated by the $ prefix.
Okay, all right. We're going to use Visual Studios to create our Django app, okay? And the reason for that is and we're going to, as we continue with the reading, you'll understand a little bit more. Because the Python code that we're creating, because what we're doing is we're creating Python code to build, create websites, and interact with them. So that means that Python code has to get out onto the internet and do stuff. And that's what Django does. It's got all this built-in modules that we're going to use, all this built-in code, to get what we want done, to make it easier for us, but it also creates the environment that allows us to interact with the internet, okay? And so that means that a lot of different applications are going to be communicating back and forth with each other. And that's pretty much what we're doing when we're setting up the environment. We're taking all the apps and we're making sure that they can communicate with each other and that they're all the right versions, okay? And with this, what they're talking about here is and we're going to be doing this in batch, okay? But this is an interactive prompt, okay? And when we get to creating the Django, because we're using it to create a batch program, I'm going to show you how you can get into the interactive mode when we're in Visual Studios, okay? And that's, and with that said, let's continue with our reading.
If Django is installed, you should see the version of your installation. If it isn't, you'll get an error telling no module named Django. This tutorial is written for Django 4.2, which supports Python 3.8 and later. If the Django version doesn't match, you can refer to the tutorial for your version of Django by using the version switcher at the bottom right corner of this page, or update Django to the newest version. If you're using an older version of Python, check what Python version can I use with Django? To find a compatible version of Django, see how to install Django for advice on how to remove older versions of Django and install a newer one. Where to get help. If you're having trouble going through this tutorial, please head over to the Getting Help section of the FAQ.
And this is why we're going to use Visual Studios, because I don't want to have to deal with all this crap. It's a freaking headache, okay? And now it's going to go into creating a Django program the difficult way, but we're going to get past that by using Visual Studios. But I want you to listen to this so you know just exactly how much grief we're going to skip over.
If this is your first time using Django, you'll have to take care of some initial setup. Namely, you'll need to auto-generate some code that establishes a Django project, a collection of settings for an instance of Django, including database configuration, Django-specific options, and application-specific settings. From the command line, cd into a directory where you'd like to store your code, then run the following command.
Again, this is an interactive command. All right, we're almost done, and then it's off to Visual Studios.
This will create a MySite directory in your current directory. If it didn't work, see problems running Django admin. Note: you'll need to avoid naming projects after built-in Python or Django components. In particular, this means you should avoid using names like Django, which will conflict with Django itself, or test, which conflicts with a built-in Python package.
All right, that completes today's reading. Now we're going to go on to, let's make sure that is that last. Okay, now we're going to run off to Visual Studio and see if we can get this to work. All right? All right. All right. So here we are at the Create a New Project screen. All right. Now, usually we would click on Python application, but we're not going to do that because we want a Django web project. Okay. Which, is one of these things. Okay. It's not Flask, it's not Bottle, it's Django. So let's highlight that and let's hit next and see what happens. We're learning together. Okay, that looks good. Keep that the same. Create a new project. Sure, let's see what happens. All right, one more thing. I want to create a super user. Do we really need that right now? Let's see. Before running this route, you may want to. What if I don't want to? Synchronize the database. I guess we're going to need a database too. Well, let's worry about that later. Is this the developer shell? This is the command prompt. I'll be right back. I gotta go get something. Come on here. Where's that code? What I'm doing is I'm going back into the Word document that I created for this video, if it will show up. Come on. And I'm stealing that that bit of the code that checks to see the Django version. I don't think we need the $sign. Let's see this happen. No module named Django. That doesn't sound good. All right, let's go back to the output. Okay, how about let's see, what are we doing here? Apparently we don't have it to Django. So let's go install Django. Actually, I think what I need to do is just put Django and everything will pop up. All right, which install Django? Yeah, let's just do that. Pip install Django. I think we're going to need SQLite 2, which is the database, but I thought that already existed. But all right, let's go, and as long as we're here. You see, I clicked the little green Christmas present. SQLite. Well, there's a whole lot of versions of it. Let's just click on the pip install SQLite. See what happens. All right. All right. Let's close that down. Let's go ahead and run the frickin' code and see what happens. Oh, it didn't like that. Huh. Well, look, hey man, there's all this stuff at the top. Let's click on this thing, create virtual environment. Create. See, this is why I love programming, in the future. Because the apps are smart enough to solve all my problems before I have to think about it. With that said, let's go run this thing again. Oh, by the way, I clicked on, we definitely want it set up to be Google. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wow, look. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but it looks like it worked. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know if you're seeing this. Now we got some output, and I don't know if the output. Oh, look, this is important. See the little red thing? That means it's running. We're freaking hooked up to the internet. We can write code now. Okay? All right. At least I think we are. That's going to do it for today's video. Although I am going to go take a look at this output real quick. All right, let's go take a look. All right, here we go. This is what popped out. Look at that. Remember I was trying to run that command that tells us what the Django version is? Well, there it is right there in the output. Isn't that awesome? All right, well, that's going to be it for today's video, and then in the next video, we'll dig a little deeper into this, all right? Well, we'll see y'all in the next video. Hasta la vista.